Hi guys, this is Nightmare3464. I'm going to continue reading Stay With Me Chapter 7. Woo! Chapter 7! We're almost there to the ending. I hope you guys enjoy. It felt like a year has passed since Jeff took me from my home. For all I knew, it could have been more. My body hasn't changed very much. Maybe slightly, but I'm not so sure. I've been staying with Jeff for 12 months now. The season hasn't changed much either, other than what I'm used to. Most likely it looks like next year has passed, or whatever. Throughout the time has gone by really fast. It's about winter, and my dark ocean blue eyes peeked outside, watching Jeff and Ben throwing snowballs at each other. Jeff was far winning, seeing that he could climb the trees easily, then get Ben from behind. That makes him win easier. It's actually amusing to see them play a snowball more. I just sat there inside with Smile. The green dog is big enough to wrap around me, resting his head upon my lap. He's grown pretty attached to me, most likely since he saw that I was no mean a threat to Jeff. I really began to grow attached to him too. Now I'm getting more attached to Jeff, who's an 18-year-old killer now. It's funny, since I was scared at him at first, thinking that he was going to cut my throat out every night when we slept. Now, through my thoughts that traveled the night, Jeff had taken me from my home. Sam, Taya, my parents. I'm guessing they were crying, worried sick about me. My parents would have flashed through my mind constantly 2 weeks after Jeff had taken me. I gotten sick, and he allowed me to go to the town to hurry and buy cold medicine. I wore a mask to cover my face, but my heart was broken to see posters of me surrounding the grocery store. I felt bad for my parents. I grabbed the cold medicine and left the store. My parents, they must be so worried sick about me. A year has passed now, seeing that their 17-year-old little girl wasn't home, wishing that she would come back. I cried a few times thinking about it. I also think that my parents will go to my room, waiting for me to come home. I returned to normal thinking when all of a sudden something hit me and threw me out of my thoughts. Sitting in position, it was cold and it was a snowball. Came through the window and smacked me clear in the face. I lay there rubbing my face and blinked as my vision was very blurry for a moment before I sat up looking at Smile. He was barking and licking the remaining snow off my face. I crawled over to the window to see that both Ben and Jeff were looking at me with wide eyes than normal. Jeff's mouth was round and his black eyes looked scared. Then he turned narrow to Ben. Jeff did it! Ben yelled. Ben, what the hell? I didn't mean to throw the snowball at Serena. Jeff yelled at him for that. Looking away, he was like about to kill the poor blonde boy. I looked away and knowing what's going to happen. I didn't mean to hit her, Ben screamed as I saw Jeff tackled him to the floor. I didn't want him to see because I know it was going to be pretty. I turned to Smile. The red and black smiling husky was watching me. I didn't blame Ben for hitting me in the snowball, but I didn't care. I placed my hand on Smile and patting him on the soft spot on his head. He lifted his head up to my hand as I petted him across the neck, his neck down. Well, it was a few moments when I was petting him, I went back into my thoughts, ignoring the world around me. My heart flew open, suddenly jumping. As the door of mine in Jeff's room banged open, and seeing an angry murderer pulling a pitiful look on Ben, Jeff held Ben by the shirt and Ben's head was laid down. He kept from looking at me while Jeff, even without blinking, he glared at Ben and the bruise's lowered head. I stared at them, wondering what they're going to do in surprise. "Say you're sorry, Ben," Jeff growled, and Ben, his head still lowered, peeing up to see me, showing and murmuring some words, something like I couldn't make it out. Jeff smacked him behind the head, causing Ben to jolt straight up. "Say it!" Jeff smacked the boy once more. And now the 18-year-old, becoming more impatient, Ben glared at him and then looked back, lowered his eyes at me. I'm sorry," he said quickly. I cocked an eyebrow. These two really wanted me to laugh about something. I stand up and walked over to them. Smile was right next to me. Pacing down and lower, I bent over to look at Ben. I had smiled. "I forgive you, Ben." He blushed lightly as he gave me a big grin, Jeff letting him go and then stood looking at him with angry eyes. Ben was now holding his stomach that was growling. "Chow time!" Then he turned to us as we watched him leave the room. I looked down and smiled. He was looking back, barking and nagging at my hand. Then followed after Ben. After what seemed like an hour, leaving, I turned to Jeff. He was standing at the door. His eyelids were staying put. My feelings about him had grown a little. I walked towards him and lifted my hands to his face, and he blushed slightly as I touched him. "You're freezing! Aren't you cold?" I asked him. By just touching his cheek, he was dead, like he was dead. The cold of his skin. He stared at me lightly and then looked away, and his cheek grew more red and then finally patched warm quickly. I wanted to laugh at the blushful heat when keeping it in. "No, I'm used to it. You know that," he stuttered, he looking away from me. He was so cute when he was like this. I was growing to fond of him, from his blushful side and his demonic side. I was really falling for this handsome murderer. Jeff's point of view. As she stared at me, I couldn't hold the blush growing on my face. I looked away as she was speaking. Her ocean blue eyes were still on me. I had no idea what was about Serena that made me feel this way. This is so confusing. I grew jealousy when she would rather talk about some boy she knew, or when she's with Ben. When Ben goes near her, when she comes close to me, I get like this. Damn it, it's so confusing. I'm tired of talking to Ben, but whenever I try to say something about Serena, he always gives me a cocky smirk and then laugh and walk away. That bastard. I finally looked back at Serena and her cute face. She letting me go as she blinked with concern looking on her face. We stared at each other for a moment. As she blinked, I looked at her up and down. My heart was most likely racing from the return feelings again. Feelings I had since forgotten. The first time I kissed her and the first time I met her that night. Hold up. And sometimes it made my stomach twist out of thought. Racing into my head, Ben has said it caused me. I'm a guy, but who knows? What's with that ass? I slowly leaned in. Jeff, get down here now! Leaving it to Ben to ruin my fucking moment. My eyes went back and darted to the door. Instinctively, I growled in me. I'm going to hurt Ben one of these days. I looked back at Serena. She was watching me as I walked to the door. Staring at her as I always do. I stopped before I turned the corner, giving my eyes a last look at her before leaving downstairs to the hallway of the factory. I quickly bolted towards downstairs and where was the fuss about Ben, and I skipped the last one. I ran through the door leading into the front door and stopped. There was Ben and Smile. They were looking at something. Their eyes were open as I spun out. Ben and Smile were facing a tree in front of the building. Smile was growling at something. Ben turned and looked at me, at the tree, then to me. He looked scared. I never seen Ben scared. I quickly made my way to the tree and sat next to Ben, my black eyes examining the scene and widened. A bloody heart was stabbed into the trunk of the tree that looks like it's been ripped out of whoever it belongs to. Blood dripping off of it onto the snow on the ground below it. Confusing, the tree became red, absorbing the organ. Writing on it was carved in the trunk of the tree, saying, "Do you think Serena will accept my offering?" It took me a moment to understand what it meant, but my right hand, which was leaning against my jacket, grabbing my knife, tightening my knife. Out of the corner of my eye, and I was now filled with rage in my mind, I could hear her light footsteps coming up behind me. It was Serena. Her voice entered my ears. "What's going on, you guys?" she said, stepping out. I looked out the corner of my eyes. I see Smile Dog rushing to Serena, trying to stop her from seeing the gruesome sight. He was whimpering at her as Ben and I turned to look at her as well. And I said for a fact, for 13 months now as I known her, I never saw her face turn that white before. Mysterious man's point of view. I watched from the top of a tree as Smile Dog and Ben hurried out of the factory. They seemed shocked seeing my little present. I laughed. I was pleased with it. "Jeff, get out here now," the blonde elf boy called, turning to the abandoned factory. I was hoping that Serena would be the first one to see my wonderful gift, but as always, Jeff of course comes out. No angel with him. I looked down. Jeff has running out to look at the dog and the blonde boy. He fast walked over to them and looked. Concerned rage hit him suddenly on his face. I'm pretty sure he was probably waiting to stab something. Knowing Jeff, I would. Suddenly, after Jeff came out, and came the angel, walking out. She looked curious. I began struggling with my emotions as she came out. Her long silver hair was always so shiny, and her eyes were the most beautiful dark ocean color I have ever seen. My happiness grew as she headed towards the others. I was really hoping she liked it. It was hard to kill it. So I wanted something best, a heart, for her. The heart of her best friend, Taya, to be exact. My mood dropped as I grew to see the horror that filled her face, now turning pale. She didn't like it. I don't get it. Don't girls like hearts that say romantic things? I heard a lot of people say that. I turned and hopped off the tree and bolted deep into the snowy forest. Serena's point of view. Smile, scenting ears piqued by the sound of something leaping on the snow from us and running away. The large red and black husky turned and headed towards the sound, quickly barking as the hooded figure ran away from us. Ben looked at Smile. "What's up, Smile?" he asked, and then following the dog's hunting eyes, it seems like it was going after something in the distance. As his eyes turned black and widened. "Hey, who is it?" he's yelling. Smile is already hurrying after the thing. Jeff stared at now the fearful Serena. Looking, it seemed that Ben turned to them. Jeff ran up to him. The figure was fast, and Jeff knew it. and Ben wouldn't have been in competition of catching whoever it was. Jeff looked back at his friends, yanking his knife out from his hoodie's pocket. Ben, watch Serena. I'm going with Smiles. Before Ben could deny his quest, Jeff was already halfway with Smiles. Turning to look at me, Ben said, seeing that I was watching, and then the back of my friend Jeff and the husky running off. We should probably get inside, he said to me. I blinked at him and nodded slowly. I keep looking for a moment and hurting body part, back at the bloody heart. I followed Ben inside in the large building. Hours has passed. I felt like about 2 or 3, and Jeff and Smile has still not have returned. Ben was hacking some other people with Jeff's computer, while I sat there looking out the window again. My dark ocean blue eyes peeled up, and the dark forest outside. I could barely see the sky because of the dark gray clouds above it in the woods. I always worried, wondering what's happening to my friends. Are they okay? I wish I could just come back. I wish they'd just come back. Smile licking my face and jumping on me, Jeff giving me a kiss and blushing at the last part. I look at Ben and he's peeked at me as he watched me in confusion with his black eyes, and I'm not sure if he was trying to see into my soul or not. I'm pretty sure they're fine, Serena. Don't worry about it. Why don't you get some sleep? I'll keep watch while you do. My eyes were heavy, but I didn't want to go to sleep without Jeff. There was a piece of me that wanted me to go back to bed, and I could hear the expression go to sleep in my ear. He held me closer to him when we slept, but my body won over my mind, and I moved over to mine and Jeff's sleeping bag. I pulled myself in and silently shut my eyes. After about 5 minutes, I fell into a deep, dead sleep. Serena! I jolted, my eyes open wide. How long have I slept? It was still dark outside, I guess only an hour or 2. Serena! I quickly sat up and looked around in the room. My eyes met those of a black as I stand up, who was next to me calling to me. I looked fearful as he grabbed my arm and trying to pull me away from the main door. I'm used to the room. There's only a fire escape in the opposite direction. I was pulled back though, wondering what is he doing and what is he up to. Ben, what is it? I yelled back, finally getting my arm out of his grasp. He groaned and frantic. He doesn't want me to go around, and he tries pushing me. No time, Serena. Outside. It's him. The one that left the heart. I stopped and looked up to the window. Curiosity filled me as I hurried to it. Away from Ben, looking out, I saw the tree where the heart has been, and both the knife and the heart were missing. Freezing, I could hear the sound like someone hitting something, and someone falling to the floor. As my thoughts, I looked around and couldn't see anything. I thought it would be better for me to give you this in person. I quickly jolted around and looked where the dark, shy voice came from. Gasping, I became scared as I saw the boy, the same height as Jeff and Ben, just above the unconscious Ben, lifting his blue hoodie and pulled it up. He wore black skinny jeans like Jeff's and black sneakers. He wore a mask, a bit odd, but it was dark blue with holes like eyes that had black liquid dropping from it. His messy brown hair that covered mostly the eye of the mask. Looking soft, I didn't dare go near him to find out. I felt like he was looking into my soul. I backed away against the wall. He held the heart in his hand and the knife in the other. Who was that? Who is this? Was it someone that Jeff knew? Going back to the heart, I glared down in fear for a moment. You left that, I started quietly. He began shaking and nodded quietly, stepping towards me. I shifted at the step he had took and holding the heart out to me. I grew sick seeing the organ. Looking up at him, away from him, I became scared as he took more steps towards me, eyes or holes never leaving me. Do you like it? He asked, with sound especially clear in his voice. I stood there in silence a moment, gulping down from my fear. Was this guy nuts? Whose heart was that, anyway? I didn't want to find out. Suddenly told me to draw attention back to him. Breathing in, I could see that he was only about 4 feet from me. Turning, I asked, Why a heart? And who are you? Another step towards me. Now he was likely looming over me, beating me down, and shaking cleared. My name is Eyeless Jack, and I want to give my angel my heart.